Welcome to Celebrate a Sister podcast. I'm your host, Emma Walkinshaw. I'm a transformational coach. I'm also the founder of Embody Me program and the creator of 21 Minutes of Morning Magic. You may also find me on the yoga mat leading yoga sessions and also running retreats here in Australia and internationally. Here on the podcast, I bring you some pretty incredible guests. We talk all things self-belief, body acceptance, personal development, outdated beauty standards, and we also call BS on the toxic diet culture, accepting the beautiful bodies we were born into, letting go of all the beliefs, and raising our self-awareness. I also come to you from time to time with a little solo episode, a little Life According to Emma moment. I'm so glad you're here. Enjoy. Welcome to this week's episode of Celebrate a Sister. I'm your host, Emma Walkinshaw. Today's episode is a little Life According to Emma moment and what has been swirling around in my mind this week and what has inspired this podcast. For all of my beautiful listeners, do you watch Australian Story? Australian Story is such an incredible, little mini series of documentaries. So just recently, I watched the episode Face to Fake, Chelsea Boner. So Chelsea she runs a model agency, and this whole episode was about how she entered into modeling and was told that she was a plus size model, and she went on and did lots of plus size modeling. And even she talks about her experience of being a plus size model. And this was back in the early 2000s, I believe. I could be wrong there, but she was saying how, and she had some visuals of her modeling back then and how the larger girls or the plus size girls were always put in really daggy clothes. So she had some visual, like it was like a turtleneck, a skivvy, like really, really daggy stuff. And then, of course, the more slender women, the models as per se, were put in all the fashionable clothes. So she spoke about her journey there. But this beautiful episode, Face to Fake, was all about how now what they're doing is they are getting, obviously the modeling industry is changing due to AI, and how they are actually getting a woman's body, and Levi's is actually featured in this episode. And Levi's are actually using AI-generated models to model these jeans. There are so many things that are alarming here because, again, here we are as women with this comparisonitis and these unhelpful beauty standards, and now it's been generated by an AI piece of software that has a pair of jeans on them. They actually look like real women. That's the thing that's like, wow. So we're looking at models. Firstly, models, what's going to happen to the modeling industry? And look, it's not an industry that I'm involved in, but I just find it really fascinating. But I come from more of a beauty standard and a toxic diet culture that, again, is showing visuals of, let's say, the perfect body in a pair of Levi jeans. So on one hand, I've been quite excited and thinking there's a lot more inclusivity with models and a lot more diversity being shown. But then on the other hand, we've got these models that are AI generated and showing a body that potentially is just a set of measurements. So it was a really interesting conversation that Chelsea had, and she's got quite a big movement about it. But it got me thinking even about this comparison and us comparing ourselves as women all of the time, and how that can be really, really unhelpful for our own self-esteem. And I was thinking about my own life and my own journey and my struggle that I have had with accepting my body. And it's definitely a healing process. And I was thinking about all of the women that I have in my life and thinking about who I've actually been jealous of, who I've compared myself against. And it was definitely in my younger years, thinking if only I had that, or if only my legs were longer, or my bum wasn't so big, or my thighs weren't so chunky, I'd be able to wear that. And now, as I come to this beautiful age of 48, I guess it's still the body stuff, but now it's the aging. It's now aging. And it feels like, when I say this, it feels quite self-indulgent because there are so many bigger topics and issues that are flying around the world. And it seems quite, immature in a lot of ways to be in this place where I feel that, oh my gosh, how am I going to move forward in life? But it feels quite real. And that's the work for me now, is to actually make my way through these emotions that are a bit of false economy and actually dig a little deeper and find out what's it all about. So how do I do that? So for me, it is definitely moving from that inferior superior and looking at all of the incredible women in my life. And a friend, I was discussing this with her, and she said to me, who do you feel jealous of? And I said, well, I can definitely identify somebody when I was in my early years, and we both confessed to each other who that person was that we felt jealous of. And then my friend said to me, are you jealous of her now? And I said, absolutely not, because I actually know her very well. And I said, I know that it's not all roses and popsicle stands. I actually know that everybody has a cross to bear and everybody has an Achilles heel. And although it looks sometimes like everything's peachy on the outside, we've all got our stuff. We've all got stuff going on. I also now shift when I look at a woman that is doing some really incredible things in life. So it's not so much now for me about looking how someone looks. That's no longer a thing for me. It's more, how is she, how is she creating change in life? Is she going after her passion? Is she lit up? Is she turned on? Because that's really exciting to see. And now I make those women my friends. I make those women my inner circle, because I feel like there is nothing more wonderful in life to have really great relationships, but with women who are shakers and movers. So I feel like I've moved from comparison to admiration. And I right now can, roll off, I've got a hand full of women that I admire. And they're the people that I want to have a seat at the table with. They're the people that I want to be around. So I've really gone to this place where because I feel that comparison and jealousy is sometimes felt in the body. And you might come up against someone. And if you think back to someone that you potentially, I'm going to ask you the question, have you felt jealous of someone? And for me, and I don't know if this is true for you, but it's been almost like a visceral feeling. Whereas now, when I am in the company of some women who I'm aspiring to be like, who are potentially a few chapters ahead of me and doing some really wonderful things in life, I actually want to celebrate them. So I will be the first to say to them, I'm so happy for you. And I generally mean it, because I feel that when you are in company and you have a seat at the table and you're rubbing shoulders with incredible women who are doing wonderful things in life, isn't that a reflection of who you are? If you are actually in their company and having conversations with them and get to text each other and call each other, that is also something that you can commend in yourself, that you are actually part of a group of women that potentially have already achieved what you want. So I think that's super important or of great value to acknowledge yourself when you've got some really great quality people. So back to the beauty standards. I feel like I've, slightly gone off track here, but back to the beauty standards. I guess it's for me now questioning. When I see a visual or I see something advertised, questioning that is that even true? Because it's all a bit of an illusion. It's a huge illusion, actually. I was also talking to my cousin the other day and just starting to eyes up, ears up about things that very innocently come out of our mouth. And I think I've actually even said this. So my cousin was telling me, and she's in her early 50s, she was telling me about a conversation she was having with someone, and they happened to say, "Oh, how old are you?" And she said, "Oh, I'm 52." And they said, "Oh gosh, you look good for your age." And she said, "It really pissed me off." She said, "Because what is a 52-year-old supposed to look like?" So she was really, really irritated to it. And I said, "Gosh, that's a really good bit of feedback." I said, "I think I've actually said that to someone. I think I've actually said those words. Oh, you look good for your age." You think you're giving a compliment, but it's a little bit of a backhander. I think it's not a great compliment because, yeah, what is a 50-year-old supposed to look like? And why are we comparing ourselves to our 30-year-old self? Why are we comparing ourselves to perhaps an image that we've seen in media about how we're supposed to age, knowing that back to our beautiful Face to Fake, which was that documentary, it's all BS anyway. We're not even seeing real women age. And you and I both know that if we're to wake up in the morning, we don't look as gorgeous as we do when it's, perhaps we've had time to have a shower and groom and clean our teeth and do all those wonderful things. So I guess the thing that I want to bring to your attention today is don't be hard on yourself. If you are amongst incredible women, celebrate them. Compliment them for their achievements. Let's all try really hard not to say you look good for your age, and maybe get a little bit deeper than that and say, could we say instead? We could say, I really love how you run your business. You look like you've got some great systems in place and you are a very competent woman. Maybe that's the compliment I'll give now instead of, oh, you look good for your age. And it is a fine little line because I love to compliment women on their clothes. I love clothes. I love to compliment women on their hair. I was a hairdresser. I love to talk about hair. So I guess it's being a little bit sensitive how we say it and how we compliment women and building them up and not ripping them down, right? Because that's the other thing too. Madonna Goddess, I don't know if you've heard this in the podcast in the past, but she says something that I just love. And she says, when you are, it's a measure of a good woman is how she speaks about you when you are not in her company, if she is still your cheerleader and still cheering you on. And I always remember that. I often think when I'm in company with other women and a name is brought up, I'm always there to champion her. And if I'm not and I don't agree, I don't say a thing. I don't say a word. I don't add to it. I don't go there. So I really try and practice the non-gossiping, even though Mother Margaret, my mother, loves a good gossip. I have to try and say to Mother Margaret, you've got 10 minutes to gossip and then we're moving on because it's boring. And she hates that because she loves to gossip. So I think it's a really great practice to think about who am I championing, how do I say that, when they're not in the room? Who am I really going for? So today's little episode was a little bit of a mishmash. It's just thoughts, life according to Emma today, my thoughts today. But yeah, embracing aging, not looking at advertisement and comparing our bodies. Let's talk about women with ease, grace, and love in our heart when they are not in the room with us. Let's be there to champion people and know that if you've got a seat at the table with some incredible women, you're doing something right. So, my darlings, thank you for listening. Go and have an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous day. And I will keep coming to you with little pearls of wisdom. I don't know how much wisdom was here today, but I've got a little bit off my chest. It's like a little counselling session. Thanks, darlings. Take care. Have you checked out my latest creation? Yes, I am a published author. I've written a book, 365 Days of Morning Magic. Manifest a life you love with clarity, calm, and joy. This little book is a daily guide that helps you set your intentions. I also invite you to join my free group, 21 Minutes of Morning Magic on Facebook, where I gather regularly with you all and we go through a beautiful little process of yoga, some flowetry, setting an intention for the day. So if you'd love to be part of that, click the link below and I hope you enjoy this beautiful little book.